Hello, my name is Ari Scales. Today I'm going to be talking about Illicit Nature's response to my call-out video, and I'll be going through their video clip by clip. I'm going to be reading off a script that I made to make sure that I word everything as factual and respectful as possible, so if I look away, that's why, so please bear with me. For my response to Illicit Nature's video, I will be doing a similar method to theirs and go through their video clip by clip. I will be giving missing context as well as speak about everything that is misleading, untrue, or unfair. I will also be giving evidence and providing a timeline of events backed below with screenshots. All the screenshots I use in this video can be found there in chronological order. I have edited out the name of abusers and graphic details pertaining to my abuse. It is incredibly demanding and stressful to expect a victim to do this much emotional and physical labor themselves. I put a lot of time and effort into this, so please watch it and please keep all the harassment and rude commentary to yourself. I'm only looking for accountability and a genuine resolution to the situation. I appreciate the community's concern and desire to hold space for accountability in our music scenes, and I hope this video provides clarity and accountability on my end. Please watch and please watch all the videos before coming to any conclusions. There will be links below for you to check out more evidence.
In this clip, Ari claims that they came forward with their abuse story in May. The thing is, all of us, except for Nina, didn't hear about this.
When I was told, I was receptive and respectful of what Ari was saying. I was scheduled to tour with said abuser in the same month and was also rooming with him at the time. I explained that if I kicked out in that moment, I wouldn't be able to afford rent and would become homeless. Ari was very understanding in the moment.
I talked to Nina before anyone else. I was hesitant to talk to her about my abuser, but ended up talking about him after she had mentioned kicking him out of the band for hanging out with a predatory person. She promised me she wouldn't get mad at me and that she wouldn't continue a friendship with my abuser. I was trying to discuss what I needed from her and trying to figure out what to do. She kept guilting me by bringing up her issues and accusing me of being accusatory when I started talking about valid concerns. I was very understanding of her financial needs at the time, but never got the chance to discuss what I needed from the situation long term. Nina kept reiterating that my abuser was not the priority in her life, despite me never trying to invalidate her own struggles. When I brought up my concerns of other predatory people within our friend group, she shut down and unfriended me, May 14th, 2019. Although I am uncertain of specific dates, after Nina, Gary King, Spencer Dyke, Rain Marie, and Ivy Mia were all made aware of my abuse between May and July 2019. Nina and others had said that they were done being friends with my abuser and they essentially hated him and stated that he was a gross person. Nina and others kept contact with him and posted a picture with him stating, "My friends," 3 months after I came forward to Nina. Nina, Gary, Spencer, Rain, and Ivy had all taken a picture with my abuser, knowing he hadn't been accountable for his actions, and posted it knowing that I would see. This made me feel really betrayed and triggered. My abuser had also told me that he was still in contact with Nina as far as October 3rd, 2019, 6 months after I came forward to Nina. He also confides in me that he doesn't know why he is no longer in Illicit Nature. June 16th, 2019. The next time I heard from Nina, she asked me if she could tell my abuser the reason he's being kicked out of Kitten Fight was my fault. I said no, because she had told me that she planned on kicking him out before I had mentioned anything about my abuse. She then told me that was not true and then blocked me. I do not feel that Nina handled this in a respectful way and kept reiterating several times that it wasn't a priority for her, as well as broke a huge promise of no longer remaining in contact with my abuser after tour and after she no longer lived with him. She stopped speaking to me 14 days after I came forward about my abuse to her.
Illicit Nature heard rumors about some issues Ari was possibly facing at the time. We reached out to check up on them.
Ari vaguely stated that things weren't going well, but they were under control. It didn't sound like our business, so we didn't pry.
We're unsure of what defensive or dismissive responses Ari is referring to, but we feel we didn't respond in a way that would warrant those claims.
July 31st, 2019. Illicit Nature is made aware of my abuse by Robbie because I had reached out to him in hopes of putting shows on hold until my abuser was held accountable. I admit this was not the best way to go about things, but I felt uncomfortable reaching out to Illicit Nature and my abuser directly. Sid had sent screenshots from the Illicit Nature group chat showing Ethan being dismissive, accuses me of blasting it on Facebook, and speaking about the context of my abuse with my abuser directly. I'd also like to take the time to point out that Illicit Nature did not reach out to me. The screenshot they show is David reaching out to me July 25th, asking me if I am doing all right before he is made aware of the abuse. I replied no, to which he does not respond. I then reached out to David after seeing the messages in the group chat and felt guilty. I wanted to make things right with my abuser right away because they were scheduled to play with Hawthorne Heights. I had apologized right away for not going to Illicit Nature first before talking to Robbie. He kept telling me that he was handling the situation and speaking over me, telling him my concerns. Neither David nor Ethan reached out to me first. I told him why I was uncomfortable coming to him about the situation. He told me I was guilting him for just explaining the situation, which made me feel uncomfortable to talk about it with him any further. He had also told me to seek professional help when I do see a therapist once a week and I follow her advice on everything. Not everyone can afford professional help, so it's kind of an ableist response, and it was told to me in an extremely rude and condescending way. I would also like to point out in these messages, David claims he is handling things on his end. Not once does he discuss what this entails, and later on admits that this sort of thing was beyond his capacity. While I understand things being stressful and complicated, this was an inappropriate response to handle things without keeping the victim's best interest at heart. I tried discussing what I needed from David, and I tried to discuss the situation at hand, and he kept reiterating how unfair it was to him instead of hearing out the situation or speaking to me about it like he said I could. This made me feel gross, so I stopped speaking to him. He kept handling things how he decided they needed to be handled without speaking to me.
We in Illicit Nature kicked out the abuser as soon as we were made aware of the situation when being filled in by Robbie.
No one had confronted my abuser that he was no longer in the band or had even confronted him that they were no longer friends. I'm not sure when my abuser left David's house. I would also like to mention the screenshot they used of David talking to the promoter of Emo Night for Hawthorne Heights show. David responds emotionally and childishly to the promoter immediately, becoming defensive on the matter instead of calmly stating that they can't make the show anymore. He dismisses it as a rumor and blames me for not coming to him first.
In this clip, Ari was stating what sounds like Illicit Nature and Kitten Fight sharing graphic private details about their abusive situation with other people.
Ari has zero evidence to support this. That's because it's untrue.
So, this is an extremely inappropriate response to say that zero evidence makes something untrue. It is harmful and directly goes hand in hand with rape culture to say that something you can't prove is inherently untrue. You're not constantly going to be recorded throughout your life, and most of these instances are word to mouth explicitly. It was shared. It got back to me through several people. People have reached out to me many times to tell me that it was being discussed in conversation. People that I didn't even know were speaking to me about it, and that's how I found out. It was something I shared with Nina, Gary, Rain, Spencer, and Ivy, so they have had to discuss it with others between May and the end of July.
We feel that it's important to note that throughout this time period, Ari was sharing lots of information about the situation they were in on social media.
I'm not sure what time period or what post they are referring to for my social media, but I did not outright start posting about the situation right away or share details to people that I was not close to.
Finally, on a more ironic note, Ari has been stating that they feel their privacy was violated. Meanwhile, with this whole fiasco, Ari has been sharing a compilation of screenshots with lots of private information. Some of the screenshots even feature me explicitly and repeatedly saying I do not want these screenshots to be shared with anybody. The messages themselves were not compelling or contained any incriminating evidence to support this breach of privacy.
The only person who asked or received these screenshots was Nate Burr, who used these screenshots in Illicit Nature's video that I explicitly asked him to not reshare with others. I tried my best to make sure any sensitive details were not shared, but I had not edited out graphic details of my abuse or my abuser's name. Nate shared these screenshots anyways. The details Nina asked me not to share pertain to a rumor about my abuser under the pretense of financial obligations. On a more ironic note, Nate Burr, Illicit Nature, and Kitten Fight used these screenshots in their video with my abuser's name for everyone to see, putting me in immediate danger. I don't know why they bothered to bleep out my abuser's name and use these screenshots where the messages clearly indicate that he is my abuser. It is an oversight that should never have happened. I have explicitly and repeatedly stated that I do not want to share my abuser's information. The fact that they are talking about their privacy being violated while outing my abuser sucks. The two are not comparable.
Nina, Ethan, and I privately expressed warm regards and good intention to Ari, as can be seen through the screenshots we are sharing.
The screenshots they use saying these are their warm regards are me talking to Ethan with no reply, Nina telling me I can talk to her about things without the full context of the messages, and David saying, "Hey, I know we don't talk much, but I hope you're doing okay," before he is made aware of my abuser and ignoring my message.
That's why apologies weren't made. It was private and a personal matter that we didn't want to bring any more attention to. We talked with Ari privately and thought that would suffice.
As warm as Illicit Nature's regards were, they were made aware and asked to discuss the matter further on several different occasions as a resolution had not been reached. Everyone ignored the original message Sid sent on my behalf asking to do a call-in meeting, while David just flat out refuses, claiming that he is done with the matter. I had made it clear on multiple occasions that discussing this and coming to a resolution was necessary and that I was uncomfortable with how things were left off.
Again, to reiterate, Ari was telling us that everything was under control.
With my abuser and the accountability he took, not their accountability with how they handled things. This has been made clear to them, and this was the issue that needed to be discussed. I would like for Illicit Nature and a Kitten Fight to make a new apology on their social medias, apologizing for the misinformation, the mishandling of this, and to me specifically, and to let people know that if they have any questions, they can reach out to me directly.
We're a bit unsure of what misinformation Ari is referring to here. In the post, all we said was there was a lineup change because of some predatory behavior. We blocked Ari because they were being aggressive and harassing us.
So this doesn't address why it wasn't taken down after they had been made aware that it made me feel extremely uncomfortable. The post they made was not sufficient in discussing or taking accountability on the matter. I believe justice should always have the victim's best interest at heart, and time again, they kept handling things the way they wanted instead of discussing things with me. The misinformation I am referring to is speaking about the incident to others without knowing the situation fully, and also telling people I have lied about the situation.
The reason we were all edgy at the meeting Ari is referring to is because they had spent the past few weeks harassing everyone nonstop, including our friends, and making what we felt were false allegations.
It's also worth mentioning that Ari has a history of physically assaulting people as well.
I have apologized individually numerous times and have respected people's wishes when they ask I do not contact them. I apologized individually at the call-in meeting, which you can read everything I spoke about linked below, and in my timeline of events as well. And I also apologized to everyone later on, including Nina, Ethan, David, Ivy, Gary, and Spencer on July 10th, 2020. I apologize for being harassing, aggressive, making people feel uncomfortable, and breaking trust. I would also like to mention that harassment includes messaging people persistently and threatening to speak publicly if a resolution had not been reached. This specific incident they are referring to happened with Gary. I had made Gary uncomfortable in a mosh pit on 2 separate occasions. As soon as I had been made aware my actions made him uncomfortable, I apologized. I apologized numerous times for my behavior, and Gary had accepted it and specifically asked Illicit Nature not to use that against me in their video.
I would like to clarify something because I guess it's being brought up. An incident with me and Ari at a couple shows where Ari was kind of being aggressive towards me. That was something like between us, and we talked about it, and I talked to them about it, and they took accountability for that situation. And that's basically all said and done. I don't need it to be getting brought up again.
This is an attempt to discredit and demonize me. I would also like to mention that Gary King verbally expressed to David before they had made this video to not use that in their video. I would also like to mention that these apologies were not prompted by another person. I have stated and admitted multiple times throughout this that I am sorry for being reactionary about things and not going about things the right way. I would like to mention I have severe PTSD caused by continued abuse and rape during my childhood. I came about this the only way I knew how. I wish more people were patient and understanding of victims speaking out because I know it's not an easy thing to do, especially when there is trauma and stigma attached to it. It's convenient to call me out for these things when I've tried taking accountability numerous times.
We probably did get a little short and rude at times, but we were never insulting, threatening, or degrading.
I definitely disagree with this statement. I felt very unsafe. I felt degraded having people yell at me and not wait their turn to speak, for telling me that I wasn't allowed to bring my partner for emotional support while talking about something extremely traumatizing. It felt insulting that Nina had put a 1-hour time limit on the meeting. I was very considerate and let them speak when it was their turn, but I was treated with the exact opposite from David and Nina. Ethan was pretty calm and level-headed during this meeting, which I thanked him for later on in my apology to him. The mediators agreed and apologized for David and Nina's behavior afterwards when they checked up on me. I would also like to mention accommodations to seeing me in person were offered to people who felt uncomfortable being around me, and everyone was there on their own terms. No one was forced to participate in this meeting.
We were feeling frustrated and angry. It's our music projects on the line, and we poured countless hours and a few years into them.
I understand this is your music, and I want people to be able to have a creative outlet. However, I think it's in the community's best interest to hold these individuals accountable because they will not do it themselves. They have used their platform to discredit and invalidate my abuse and need to be held responsible. The reason I am asking people not to support them until genuine accountability is made is because they put their band's reputation and well-being over mine. The way they shut down and used me as a scapegoat when I came forward is apologetic behavior. It was more convenient for them to stop talking to me. While I understand the reaction, it does not make it okay. It is especially upsetting as a multiple rape survivor to see someone not practice what they preach and to claim to be a safe person for a victim to come to.
Ari wants an apology and for us to stop putting up stickers around town, and we feel that's reasonable. Ari, we want to apologize for the miscommunications that have happened.
We never doubted the abuse you went through. We wish we handled this more proactively.
We were unfortunately confused on the kind of support you needed.
We meant every supportive word we said when you first came forward about your abuse.
And we do hope that you find peace and healing from the abuse you endured.
An apology doesn't contain ifs, ands, or buts. This video is a sad attempt to discredit and scapegoat me once again. This is not what accountability looks like. This is a video used to invalidate and gaslight me, disguised as an apology, and clearing up the air. You cannot apologize for something and claim that what you're apologizing for isn't true and never happened. That's not what genuine accountability is. There were hardly any supportive words coming forward about my abuse. You cannot tell me you hope I find peace and healing while directly preventing me from getting it.
We think that cancellation exists to protect vulnerable communities from folks who could harm them. If a room becomes more dangerous when someone walks in, they don't belong in any music scene.
We want to do everything we can to keep Boise safe. We also don't feel that we pose any threat to any community, like Ari's verbiage implies.
A room becomes more dangerous when you walk into it. When I am in a room with you, I am not heard. I am not seen. I am mocked and laughed at behind my back. I am ignored and called a liar. I am where my abuse is seen as an inconvenience. A room is more dangerous when you walk into it for me. And if you cannot see the harm your actions have caused, you are a threat to this community and everything you stand for.
What we do find strange, though, is that Ari seems to be protecting their abuser's identity. The reason being that Ari has claimed that the abuser had an effective and sincere apology. We find it strange that Ari insists on canceling us over hearsay, while they have gone to great lengths to protect the identity of their abuser, who has shown he's actually dangerous to femmes and minors. This is a super glaring double standard that isn't sitting right with us.
It is absolutely no one's business who my abuser is. Not only could exposing someone's abuser put them at great and immediate danger, it is always, always, always the victim's prerogative on what and if they're willing to share. Nobody else's. Not only is it not important to what I'm talking about, it is not the issue that I'm currently having. And it would also be triggering to discuss. I felt my abuser genuinely reformed and was accountable. I caught wind of a rumor that he had assaulted someone else. I heard this November 4th, 2019 under my first call-out video. I have heard that it was assault, and I have heard from the victim that she does not believe it was non-consensual in any way, shape, or form. I do not associate myself with my abuser anymore, and I choose to not blindly defend or deny if he is dangerous to minors and femmes currently, as it is beyond my scope of knowledge. I genuinely believe that he did not know how he acted towards me was abusive and seemed very set on growing from it. I was appreciative of his accountability. The fact that this is even being brought up publicly is so gross and uncomfortable for me when I have stated time and time again that the issue I am having right now is not with my abuser. It is how my closest friends acted when I was in need of support. The disconnect is that everyone thinks this is about Illicit Nature and Kitten Fight not kicking my abuser out fast enough. But this is actually about how you should not handle accusations. It is no longer about my abuser, but the harm these people caused me in coming forward. That can sometimes be more damaging than the abuse itself. At the end of the day, the goal was for everyone to learn how to respond to these sort of things by not excusing their own shit as an excuse for isolating me.
With all that we've shared, we're still having trouble understanding how Ari is a victim of us.
I genuinely and fully believe that the members of Illicit Nature and Kitten Fight are dangerous to minors and femmes. I have not insisted that they be canceled over hearsay and have personally experienced these members act in predatory, misogynistic, and apologetic ways during and after our friendship. I have not tried canceling these people without trying to reach out and speak to them on several different occasions. If they can't see at this point how their actions were incredibly harmful, I don't know what to say. The blackmail and efforts to get me to stop talking I'm referring to are the untrue allegations that I have a history of being violent, that I have stalked and spit on Nina, and that I have gone to a minor's workplace to verbally harass them. All these claims are not true. While they are asking you to not listen to me based off their claim that no evidence equals untrue, they are also asking you to believe things about me that are untrue without evidence or proof. I will go over and discuss these allegations against me towards the end of this video.
We're confused how anything we've done has constituted as talking over Ari.
Not listening to what I needed from the situation. Speaking about my abuse and the situation. Telling others about the situation. Trying to constantly discredit and invalidate me. Refusing to take genuine steps towards resolution every time that it is brought up.
We never threatened to get cops involved. What we think Ari is referring to is warnings from David and I.
David threatens to take legal action against my video as slander, although nothing I have said is untrue. Nina says she is going to get a no contact order saying that I'm a stalker. I have always respected her wishes of not contacting her. I have no idea what Nina is referring to when she says that I have stalked her. I have never stalked Nina, and I have absolutely no desire to. I did word it a bit wrong in my video, so I apologize for that. However, both Nina and David both threatened to take legal action against me.
As a victim of sexual abuse, I find it extremely offensive that Ari would call me a rape apologist.
So, being a victim and being an apologist is not mutually exclusive. And it can actually be a trauma-based response. So it is ignorant and harmful to imply that victims can't be apologists. I have never used my suicidal thoughts as a tactic to be manipulative or controlling. I am a suicidal person, and I have been for as long as I can remember. It is extremely hurtful to hear that someone has used this against me. If I have ever expressed suicidal thoughts in a manipulative way and I am not aware of it, I'm sorry for the interaction. I try to have a safety support and make sure I am in a safe place when I'm suicidal. I don't believe my suicidal thoughts or actions are anyone else's responsibility. I have never called out a band or a person without being asked by a victim too scared to speak for themselves or knew enough about the situation to constitute calling them out. I have learned a lot about call-out culture and still have a lot to learn, admittedly. I do not feel that I have ever wrongfully canceled someone, but thoroughly believe that it is important to call out repeated uncorrected behavior for the safety of others. I have never stalked someone. I snoop sometimes on people's social medias, but I feel like that's the normal amount, and I don't know anyone who doesn't. I have absolutely no desire to stalk anyone, and I don't know where this claim came from. A minor has made several untrue claims against me, stating that I have gone to their place of business and verbally assaulted them, as well as flipped them off, told them to kill themselves, and that I am friends with an abuser. These are extremely hefty allegations that are completely untrue. This minor has been friends and interacting with members of Illicit Nature since 2018. The friendship is inappropriate to me, and this minor's involvement in what's happening does not sit right with me. I can only have Sid vouch for me that I did not verbally assault this minor. If I am friends with a pedophile and have not been made aware, I would definitely stop associating with this individual. These claims are untrue, and I'm not sure what I can do to prove it other than my word. I am willing to take further steps to prove my innocence if that involves getting the police involved or pulling up security footage. I do not want to share the identity of this minor. I do not want people to message or engage with this minor. I have blocked this minor, and I do not plan on engaging with them. So I have never smiled or thought rape was funny, period. I am genuinely sorry if it came across that way, but I believe in helping victims unconditionally, whether I like them or not. The only reason I would have been smiling during this call-in meeting is because of Nina and David's childish and immature behavior. I sent Nate Burr my video directly after noticing him still support Illicit Nature when I sent him my original call-out video. Nate begins asking me more detailed questions about Illicit Nature's involvement. I respond to his questions the best that I am able to given the emotional and vulnerable state I am in. I noticed a pattern of him trying to get me to contradict myself. I could tell from the conversation that he was not unbiased. When he began speaking to me about his weight in the music community, I stopped taking him seriously and stopped responding to his messages. Nate had never messaged me before about Illicit Nature between when I sent him my first call-out video July 2020 to December 5th, the day after I posted my second video. On the 11th, Illicit Nature posts their video, and the screenshots in the video are the screenshots I gave to Nate Burr, which I had explicitly asked him not to reshare. YouTuber and member of the band Raccoon Tour directly utilizes his following and asks his followers to support Illicit Nature in these trying times, and takes it upon himself to edit Illicit Nature's story and blindly defends them without knowing or being a part of the situation. Something that baffles me so much because it just goes to show that people are involving themselves in my business when it is not warranted and definitely not wanted. I hope Nate takes this opportunity to be accountable because it was extremely uncomfortable, weird, and triggering for him to involve himself in this manner. Like I said, the problem was not that they didn't kick my abuser out fast enough. It was the way they responded when I came forward. They ignored me, they scapegoated me, and they had not been accountable for their behavior, and now they're trying to paint me as an abusive and violent person. I have been toxic. Everyone in their lives will be toxic. It is a part of being a human. I have never sugarcoated it or claimed that I've always handled this 100% the right way, but when I fuck up, I try to make things right and acknowledge them. I want to take this time to apologize publicly. I am sorry for being harassing, persistent, and aggressive in this manner. I am sorry to all those who I have hurt, broken trust, and made feel uncomfortable. It makes no sense to preach accountability without being accountable for things you've done yourself. I have tried being accountable and reaching out to these people individually. All I am asking is that you give me the same respect. Please acknowledge and come to terms with the fact that this was not handled correctly without trying to discredit me and invalidate me any further. That being said, I cannot keep up with all this back and forth stuff. I know from experience that no matter how much proof you have, someone will not believe you. I have come to terms with this, and I cannot stop people from acting in monstrously shitty ways. I can only call them as I see them and hope that they find it within themselves to grow and move on. I ask those who continue to support these bands and their behavior to distance themselves from me. Do not speak to me. Do not pretend to be my friend. I need this boundary in order to move on. Please respect that. I deserve to feel safe in the scene. Everyone does. Please know that I am only a human and that I make mistakes. Please do not act like you are entitled to know my abuse and know my story. Healing is not linear, and everyone needs to heal in different ways. Please do not expect people to get over their traumas quickly. It's not how it works. Please continue to hold space for accountability within our scenes. Educate yourself on how to respond when a victim comes forward and be someone that they feel comfortable coming to. I want to be able to continue safe scene efforts in Boise, because when victims do not feel safe and welcome in the scene, it is no longer safe and welcoming. Thank you for watching. Whether you agree with me or not, it means a lot, and this is something I am very passionate about. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch this video. I appreciate it.